Hi, it's Angela Long, one of the design team members for Tonic Studios. I just wanted to share with you how I made my double layer of the Perfect Percolator gift box. So I've cut everything out ready to make the video a bit quicker. So this is how I've made, this is supposed to be the lid, but I'm going to make it into the base. So I've scored all my crease lines and I've done my decorative panels, and I've already attached them to the base panels. So you need to cut 4 of these and 1 of these. So that's all I'm going to do now, is glue them on. So I just add my glue and I'm sticking only this bit on first of all and lining it up. Just adding this last one onto the longest glue tab that's there. So I'm just lining them onto there and just holding it for a couple of seconds for it to catch. And then I'll go back to my first one. So I'm going to add glue onto this glue tab here and onto this one and attach it to this side panel. So I'm just adding a little bit of glue onto the glue tabs, and then I'm going to glue this little triangle piece in there, hold it for a second, and then I'm going to bring this up and glue it to the panel next door to it. Hold it again for a few seconds, and then I'm just going to repeat that all the way round. So if I pull that one out, add my glue to the base and to the side tab. Then I'm going to line that up to the bottom, hold it for a few seconds, and then attach it to the side panel. Same again. Just hold it in place for a few seconds. And then the last one. Lining it up with the base. And then joining the side panel. This should now be your lid, and it would sit onto the base of your box. But I'm going to do this one slightly different because I want to double it up to make it taller. So if you had taller gifts, you could put them inside. So I'm just going to set that one side to dry, And for this next part now, you need 4 triangles, 4 triangle ones and 4 of the rectangular ones. So you're going to alternate them. So you'll stick the triangle one. I've got the flaps folded back at the moment, so I'm just going to stick the triangle one and the oblong one together, or rectangle one, making sure that they go up to the top and meet at the top and where your baseline is. So then on this glue tag then I'm going to add a triangle. And I just line it up into a point at the top, hold it for a few seconds, so I'm going to do this until I've glued all 8 together. If you were making it just as the single layer, I'd be attaching a base onto this bit, but because I'm going to make it taller, this is the way I found easiest to do it. I haven't creased that one, I just pull that crease. I'm not going to glue this last glue tab yet, but if it was glued together, your lid fits on and these half circles go into the holes. Go into the holes like that to make your percolator box, but I want to do it so that, well, if you've done it like that and put a border going around, it could be like a little vase, but I'm going to add another layer on to make it taller, so I'm just going to set that one aside as well, and I'm just going to fold all my crease lines. Again, I've got another 4 of the triangles, and what I've done, I've cut my main panel, then I've cut using this triangle, and then what I've done then, I've just put the triangle again, because there isn't the next layer down, it's a patterned one. I've just drawn around the triangle, and then that's all I got to do then is trim off where my cut lines are, my drawing line, sorry. and then I'm gonna just line it up to give me a border. And like I see, I need to trim off a bit more, so I'll just trim that off just to give myself the gold border going around the outside. So I'll just add a bit of glue on there. And then glue with that. And then add that to my main panel. And then just fold back just the side score line on there, and I've done the same. I cut out my main panel, and then I've just drawn around the inside of this shape. So I just need to trim that. And then just add my glue. And add it to my gold layer. And then add that to my main panel. I've also done one with lights inside, and the design on it is the coffee cups. So what I've done, out of my main layer, I've just cut, this is on the reverse side now, but I've just cut that main layer out of the cardstock, and then I've cut the two out together then, so I can put vellum behind the back of this and then line it up and stick it to there so that the lights will shine through. But for this one I'm just doing it out of pattern paper. So again, just crease all the rectangle shapes. But before I stick these together, this end panel, I'm just going to trim off. So there's a score line on there, so I'm just trimming along the score line. Because I don't need these panels. So I'm just trimming them all off. Because what I want to do with these, because I want the shape to go up and then back on itself, I'd be gluing these directly on top. So that's what I'm going to start doing now. I'm just going to add glue to my glue tab, and then making sure I got the rectangle to rectangle to give me the right shape. I'm just going to glue that and hold it for a couple of seconds, and then I need a triangle next. So I'm just going to add my glue to the glue tab, and to this bottom one. So then I can line that up, Hold that for a few seconds. And then glue it onto the base one. And it's just rinse and repeat again now to follow it all around. Just back to the rectangle one now. Hold that in place for a couple of seconds. I suppose you could add it all the way round like I did on the first panel, but I thought it might be a bit easier this way. Back to a triangle. Trying to make sure that you keep the point at the top. Just holding it for a few seconds. Oops. Only a couple more left. Triangle. Back to keeping that up to the point. Holding it for the glue to take. And then add in my last panel on. glue in the base of the last panel. So then it's coming up to a point and going back down. So what I want to do now is, these are going to go into the inside, so I want to put glue just on these bits so that they'll glue and stick to the inside of the box. But before, I want to do that before I close that box up so that I can get my fingers in there. So I'm just going to add glue and just fold them back just a little. I'm not creasing them, I'm just folding them back so that they'll go to the shape. Go a little bit lower on that one. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to slot in my first one. My second. Third one. And the fourth one. And by leaving this bit open, I can squash my hand in and then push so that it'll glue to the inside. Oh, that one's come back out, so poke that one back in. I won't poke it in all the way yet because I want to add glue to join this together on that one and on the top one. So then I can push that one down and just get my hand in, or if you can't get your hand in, use your folding tool so that you can push that panel so that it sticks to the inside. And then I'm just going to join these two panels together, and again you'll have to use your scoring tool. Sorry, I think I'm out of shot then. Put your scoring tool inside so you've got something to lean on to push them two together. And then add your top one and hold that for a few seconds. And again, I'm going to use my scoring tool because I can't get my hands in there. So now you've made it double the size. So now I'm going to make another lid in the same way, and these are just the decorative panels again. So I'm just going to fold my score lines. But this is the lid now, so I'm not going to put glue on these. And again, I've drawn around the inside of the panel, so I just need to trim that. And glue this piece to the main panel. on my last line, my last score lines. And again, it's the same as what I've done for the bottom. I'm going to glue the longest pieces first. I'll just hold it for a few seconds. I'm just going to let them dry before I join them all together and show you how to make the handle. So you need 4 of these little pieces and a square, and I just cut a small square on my decorative panel. So I'll add that onto there, and then I'm just scoring these 2 lines, but this one comes back on itself. And then I'm just going to add glue just to this top triangle and add the plain square to the top. So I'm just going to add the 4 of these. And then I'll just leave that to dry for a few seconds. And then I'll go back to my panels. And then I'm just going to glue the bottom and the sides. I'm just going to line it up to the bottom and hold it for a few seconds, and then add it at the side panel on. Oops, that one's moved. Line it up to the bottom. And then join the sides. It's a really pretty shaped box, but I also like it double, so then if you had something taller that you wanted to fit inside, then you could. last one to join it all together. And then the side one. Put that back to dry. So on this one, I'm just going to add my top panel. And just lay that directly on top of the square. And then I'm just going to add glue to these little side panels. And then this makes up your handle. I'm just going to line them up and hold it. Tuck that one in. My fingers are a little bit fatter to fit in there, so I'm just using my pokey tool so I've got something to push up against. So that's your lid, and with these extra glue tabs I'm just going to, whoops, wrong way, I'm just going to poke them in and then fold them back and glue them to the base. If they're a little bit long, you can just trim. I'll trim a little bit off to make sure. Just off these little pink bits so that none poke out the side. So I'm just going to add glue all the way around on these glue tabs. And then just fold them over and then push down on there. And then I'm going to join that to the centre. And then add this to my pattern panel, hopefully in the middle. And hold that down for a couple of seconds. And then that's just going to sit on top, giving me a little border. But so I'll have something to push on. These now are just going to slide into the top slits. Once it's gone in, once it'll find its own way after then. So that's there. And then just add glue onto this panel. And then add this onto the top, giving yourself a little bit of a border. And hold that in place for a couple of seconds. And that's how I ended up making the double layer box. So then it's taller in height so that you can add something longer in there. and that's how you make it. And then your lid just comes off like that, and then it just slides back into place. So I hope that'll give you a little bit of help in how I doubled up the box. Thanks for watching. Bye.